This is HaShulchan Yordeh Siman Lamed Tes Seif Lamed Ches to Mem Gimel. Bunch of short seifim today for some reason. This is supplemental day 267 of the HaShulchan Yomi series. Lamed Ches. You name it time to consider Ksheiro. The reason why Sirchos Kesidron, they're in order from one lobe to the other lobe, is why is kosher? Shita Setaisa Darapash when it's obvious. The Kesidron, when they're in sequence, they're in order, Lois Bakuzem is not going to get severed from each other. Avol Shitas Rashi, but according to Rashi, she is in other words, Tesis is concerned Hashem Osid in the future, and not going to get severed because and create a puncture because there's no tension. Avol Shitas Rashi, but according to Rashi, she yesh nekev. There is already. So we have to say because each one that when it's in sequence, the reason it's good is stima because of the closure, stima saneket because of the closure of the hole. The Zelishan Rashi is our decision is what Rashi says about Kasich and Hari decided that this is the way it normally goes. Zumagina Azu, this one protects the other one, but Hadra Bari gets healthy again. Shetosha Shokva Zuazu because they're lying on each other and with sparkles, they don't snap. But Kruma Lech Chazek and the scab continues to get stronger. Here's the Shayla. There's a question here. Rashi is about some because Rashi don't write in Daf Gimel. The Trevis animal shum schema. She's Chachal that by Trevis no closure, which happens after the wound, helps. Eli can also stima the meikara, unless it was a closure which was there to begin with. Moresh nikva doesn't so tamta, like as where the lung was punctured, but in a place where the rib cage stops it up. And we explained this. The kosti much lower we call him any closure which is not prepared, so to speak, from before, and it's supposed to be if it doesn't close well. I ain't sure. That's case. What good does it do that the membrane, the scab, continues to get stronger? It wasn't a closure which was there to begin with. It developed after the wound. So I have to say the Gam say obviously with the maker. There's also going to be a closure which was there to begin with. Saying like hiktim before the mako, right? The healing came before the blow. Why? Because it's the second lobe adjacent to it, which is closing it. The lobe is there to begin with, and like the rib cage. Yes, you show because it came also those who write that this in fact is intent. That's the case. Hello, you also then you're compelled to say that also according to his approach, the constitutional maker the constitution is only cool where it goes from the cut to cut. There you could say that the second una closes it up. But the circle is from the side, I guess from the side to the side, back to back, but for not directly across. So then not directly from chituch to chituch, but somewhere else to lobe, somewhere else to lobe. Hare b'sham enu sotem is there. The lobe is not seen off. Rakasircha lobat sotem is there. Only the adhesion itself is closing off. Remember, the already showing right that way. The shitas Rashi, according to Rashi, you're compelled to say the constitutional mikre that constitution is only called rakmi chituch from the cut to the cut. Here time she's bar because the reason which we explained. It's the ran. The Olishem did not write this. Because in first, and they wrote explicitly the Rashi, lo mikre shlo constitution and makrisha and lishlishis. It's only because shlo constitution goes from the first to the third. The brackets it says chena kol because of karan ayin beises v'shdachazeh. And the Makova wrote like the Ram, but the beises rejects it. That's the taste of the Rosh. Wrote to Barash and Vor. Rashi b'chol na mikre constitution. No matter which way it's called constitution. Gami gav also from the side to the side. Men, but they have to say this according to Rashi. The Gamzeh Mikre Stim and the Yikar. This is also called a closure to begin with. Al Pi Mashkasa Masif of Chabav. Basically, we said the Sif Chabav. Tanekh will cut Sechon Shasircha. The hole is on one side of the adhesion. And the second side, the second end, which is on the second una. I'll tell you my regular microphone. Hopefully everything was okay. Let's put the regular microphone in. Okay, hopefully that didn't make a difference. It's never a difference. So again, Now let's check and see. Yeah, it seems it was fine. So let's go begin and again. So the core you have to say is also considered to be a closure to begin with. I'll be much because I'm Steve Chabab. The hole is only on one side of the sircha. The Shayini and the second end, Shabuna Shi and the side, which in the second globe, ain't Banek has no hole. Visham Shita Shakrum Chazak mode. So the second, it's kind of like the property of the second lobe, which is not punctured at all, transfers to the sircha. I don't mean this literally, to the other side where the puncture is. So that's considered to be that second side is a stima, is a proper closure. And since there it's strong, right? It's obvious that the memory is very strong. Since it's there it's strong, its strength is also the other side. So according to this, since the primary reason is to close, not because of scab on the wound itself, but because of the second una to which it's attached, which is adhering. It's called a stima the meikara, initial stima. I feel even some side to side, because Shushan goes in also certainly in other places on the lobe. The bracket says, "I am bachu drisha should talk about that." Because Shemashmi and Gimel, first thought the Osi Shapir. According to what I said, works out well. Yesh l'chavin zebul sharosh. You can really infer this in the rush. See if you see the doubt. Ayin yobin, ayin sham. If you look there, you'll understand this. Mem Aleph, v'im yesh neka b'fal mamish. Now, if there's a hole in the lung, an actual hole, b'kasidron, even if it's between the unos, trefa. Okay, we're not talking about here or where there's a circle, without a circle, just a hole. Then the fact that it's adjacent to the second una does no good. V'lom b'boy l'shitas Taisus, goes without saying, according to Taisus, who says that the whole thing about a circle is that it may develop a hole, it will develop a hole. Well, if you already have a hole, it's a problem, right? According to Rashi, who holds that a sircha indicates that there is a hole, but the sircha can, as we just saw, help to heal it if it's between the two unos. So, if it's an actual hole, if you chidur, even place where the two lungs are adjacent to each other in the cut, it doesn't work without a sircha over it because it has to be closed off. And okay, a sircha from una to una smucha could work just to close it up, but not any other type of closure. Even if it's closed by, that's pre-chodesh. Even if it's closed by fat, ain't no klum. It's nothing. There's no fat in the lung itself. And fat from another organ doesn't work. Like we'll see later on. What about, okay, we have precedent that even there's no sircha, the hole could be okay because they have a hole and the rib cage closes up the hole in the rib, in the lung. That's kshera, k'moshi's bar. That's like intertwined with flesh. K'moshi's bar, as we shall see. Una lo shayach zeh. Una doesn't work. In other words, from una to chal, when even the unas are smuchos. Membes. V'yesh is a komok no, there's a shayla, there's a question here. The came in the sheet that's Rashi. This is according to Rashi. Affiliation with nekam mamish, even if there's an actual hole. Come shows love sircha kshera. Since we just said that it has a sircha, it's kshera b'kasidron when it's in order. Can come below sircha. So even there's no sircha, just a hole. Let's say the hole is kosher. Okay, now it doesn't have a closure. Nevertheless, came she real estima since it's right? It's suitable to get a closure. When the adhesion builds up. Ain't a trefa. It should be trefa. Trefa is only say which cannot be healed. It's a mortal wound. That's what Chazal saying. Times that come on, that's later on we say the nikva hakuya kshera, that a kidney gets a hole is kosher because it will heal. Be a rubak mark, because Mark explains the dafnun dalet. They say because it has a cure. Came the shgam the neck of zeh. So those cases, just any hole in the lung. There's no sircha yet, but still, this is whole yesh lo de sircha can be healed through a sircha. Nachshvena, let's say it's kosher. Imadain lo so lo sircha, even it gam imadain lo so lo sircha, even if a sircha hasn't yet developed there. That's an interesting question. It's the Ran. Okay, Gimel. The Chuvas Dor was the response to this matter. Cain was like this: the Vada in Kol Nekavi Hayurin Lalos Tircha. If all holes would be suitable and would be in the process of eventually bringing about a Sircha, Ulisos want to close it. Hi, I know Cain. We would say that. But not all holes create adhesions. Ulisos which will then they're not they're not all suitable, not all destined to achieve this. And which holes are suitable to develop sirchus is only known to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay. People don't know. It's a fascinating way of putting it. This hole is suitable for adhesion to develop. Or not. If there's a hole without a adhesion, treifa, it's treif. This might be the type of hole which is not suitable to have a sircha. It's the Ran and the Ron Bedek Habayis. When it does get a sircha, then it becomes clarified. Then that this whole type of hole which does develop a sircha, it's kosher. According to this, is Rashi and Taisus. The Shitas Rashi, according to Rashi, ben Neka b'foil mamish kazidron ain't suffix shayfa. When you have, according to Rashi, it's cute. If you have a hole, just a hole without a sircha, an actual hole between the lungs in at least the place of chituch, right? And so it's only a suffix shayfa because maybe this hole will develop a sircha over time, become healed. There's a Taisus to Shrefa Doyis. According to Taisus, it's a definite Shrefa because even he says the whole point of Sircha is not just going to heal a hole, but perhaps it's going to prevent the hole from developing. If there's no, if it adheres from una to una, but if there's an actual hole, so it's a definitely Vadai Shrefa. Okay, good stuff.